All right. Okay. Well, we got some people in here. Those of you who don't know what we're doing, we hosted a giveaway for a live critique, and we are going over those chapters from those winners. So I'll go first. The chapter that I got is one of my favorites. It's in a zombie apocalypse genre. And so I'm all about end of world stories. So it starts off with our protagonist. Her name is, well, she goes by a few different names, but we'll call her Chip because that's the main one that she likes to go by. And it starts off with she is a major. And so you start off with her basically in a cell, and she's been captured by who you find out is her cousin, and she's under holding, and we don't know why exactly, which that was part of one of our critiques, is we want to know why exactly she's in being held by her family, and then that will help kind of make the story stronger. But so she wakes up in a cell, you find out that she has all this backstory, this really hard life beforehand, and you get that dream that she has, and also some of the dialogue. So you find out that she's in this prison cell or jail cell. She's on like a military base, and it's her cousin that's holding her. We don't know why she's holding her, but we know that she's had a few. We know that she has to be drugged in order to be put to bed. We know that she's tried to escape, and she's been like handled back into the room. So we know that she's in a tough situation, and she's got flaws. And then we find out her former mother-in-law, because we find out her past and her best friend's past. So we find out that she's had this really hard life, but we don't exactly know what happened, and what happened to her husband, and why she's being held captive. But overall, the writing was phenomenal, and the story, I know that the author of this has a really good handle on the characters and the plot. There's just a few areas that we think that it could be just made a little bit stronger. And I know that Brooke had some really good input. She's actually the one who kind of caught it. So Brooke, why don't you tell kind of what your critiques were?
Yeah, so I love the idea. She really just seems like a badass character. Love the character. One thing that I felt like as I was reading is I felt like her backstory was getting shoved down my throat a little bit, but I wanted more depth. So we know she's bitter. We know that she's had a lot of crap happen to her. And we know, we learn at the very end that it's because there's a zombie apocalypse, right? And it's hard for us throughout the chapter because we don't really know about the zombie apocalypse until the very end. So throughout the chapter, we were not really sure what the conflict is. Like, why? I mean, yeah, she wants to get out of prison, but what is she wanting to get out of prison for? Like, what is it out there that she wants to go back to? And so some examples that I could come up with. So if she has like a daughter that she wants to go back to, like clearly her family thinks that she's insane, thinks that she needs like help. It sounds like her aunt has come in here to like psychoanalyze her. She's having problems. But they're like, if she's so messed up and there's a zombie apocalypse happening outside the prison, like what is she wanting to go back to? So my example is like, maybe she has a daughter outside of prison and she really wants to prove to her daughter that she is a sane person. She wants to see her daughter again. Maybe she wants to save her daughter from these zombies. And giving us that background, giving us the reason why she's wanting to leave. Hi from Pakistan. Just saw your message. Hassan from Pakistan. Glad you joined us. If she's out there, if she wants to return to her daughter, that gives us like just something to cling to, you know, like all of a sudden we're wanting to root for her. We want her to go back to her daughter. We want her to see her daughter again. We want her to prove to her daughter that she is a sane person. And that gives us a reason to root for her and something to keep us going into the next chapter, because we want her to get out of that prison too. Whereas right now, like, do I care if she gets out of this prison? I don't know. So I think that's something that would really, really strengthen this chapter, is giving us that reason outside of her just wanting to get outside of the prison. Give us a reason to care about why she wants to get out of the prison. Just give us a little bit more depth there. And then just be selective about the background stories that you give us. I think background story in a lot of cases is a really good thing. And a lot of times people don't put enough background story, and this is just full of background story. And I think it's a good thing in a lot of ways, but I think we need to cut it back just a little bit and only keep what's relevant to the emotional impact, the conflict, the tension, the why behind why she wants to leave, and just make sure you hone down on that and include the backstory that's relevant to that. Mm-hmm. And we can thread some of that, the rest of that backstory throughout the next chapters.
Yes. And one thing I will say, and okay, so if you're agents and publishers, and if you're traditionally published, a lot of them advise you to not start with a character waking up, or to not start with a character waking up from a dream. Mm-hmm. And because it's been done so many times, so it's become a cliche. That's the only thing that's wrong with it, is it's just been overdone. However, Brooke, I don't know if you feel the same way. You might have a different opinion. I feel like you started this off with a dream. I feel like it works because your character is struggling with PTSD, so that's relevant and it's true and it's believable. But if you are wanting to traditionally publish, they might tell you to change that. So you might get some backlash on that. I actually really liked it. I felt that it worked. Brooke, did you like the opening up of a dream, or do you feel like do you feel like they should cut that?
I think you could leave it, but I think it would actually make it stronger if you threaded it in where it's relevant. So like at a point where she's really thinking back on like what. So for example, I felt like there were a lot of things that have happened wrong to her, right? A lot of things that have just like cut her deep. But I wasn't ever able to focus on like the one thing that really like is stuck in her head, you know, the thing that she's really not able to get past. It just seems like a bunch of things. And when I think about it, I think the reason why you put it in the dream at the very first is because that is the one memory that's really haunting her, right? So when you go over what is, when you're trying to convey why she's wanting to leave and what is holding her back, like what is skewing her opinion of the world, what is making her bitter, that is when she can reflect back on that experience, and it'll really like punch that in.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's your story, so of course do what you feel is best for the story. You got two opinions. I feel like you can kind of keep it. Brooke has a good idea to change it, so you kind of got to make that decision for yourself. But I feel like it's absolutely pursue this story. I definitely think it has potential. I think you should publish it. I might be biased because I love zombies, but overall, like the character, she's got flaws. She feels very real to me. And that was another thing that you did really, really well, is with all your characters, all were very distinctly different. They talk different. I could very easily picture them in my head just from their dialogue and everything. So you did really, really well with your character development. So good job.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. And the zombie apocalypse idea, like I love this twist on it where we're focusing on somebody who's been in it for a long time and has had all these awful experiences. What is she going to do from here? I think we just need to make sure we get a little bit deeper into her why, so that it doesn't sound like this is going to be a Fast and Furious with like a female lead.
Yes.
That's what we probably want to avoid.
And Submit It Now said,
unless that's what you want.
Yeah. Submit It Now said the story is often in the details, but keeping those details silent is key, and that's true. Like, you want to include that backstory, but you have to know, like, to sprinkle it. You want to know, like, when the reader can read between the lines, like when they can pick up on things on their own, and like what needs to be stated. So finding that balance is really key too.
For sure. Do you think we're ready to move on to the next one?
I think so, yeah. So far,
okay.
Questions at all?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
The moral of the story, I don't know. I'd have to read the whole book to know what the moral of, I feel like the moral of the story is kind of like the theme, and you kind of have to read the whole book to get the theme. So I don't know what the moral of the story is yet.
And I think that has a lot to do with the why that we're not quite getting here in the first chapter. Yeah. so that's something that can be added. And for the people that submitted these chapters, like we're gonna send you the feedback that we have. So I'll look for that in your email, and we'll send our feedback to you and any line edits that we made. We try and focus more on story structure though, so because I think that's more important.
All right, we will do our next chapter, critique.
Cool.
Bring it up here.
All right, so the next submission is called Dog Star. And what it's about, it doesn't say the pronoun of the main character. So we're not quite sure who the character, like what the character identifies as. But this person it starts with this person sitting on a bench, and they are watching this man read a book. And they just find this man to be super attractive. And after a couple paragraphs of describing this man, they walk over to a bridge and they're considering jumping. So trigger warnings, this is a lot about depression and suicide. So if that's triggering to you, you might want to jump off from here. But they're thinking about committing suicide, and towards the end, this man that they have been watching gets up and approaches them and really like notices that there's something wrong, and talks to them and says like, hey, are you okay? Even offers them his book to see if that's something that they would want to read. Trying to get them off the edge. And at first they lie to him and they say, I'm not going to jump. And then towards the end they finally admit that they were going to jump. And this guy has saved this person. So one thing that I might point out at the very beginning. So the very beginning, I didn't quite get a sense of why they're so, like, this man that's sitting on this bench stands out to them so much. I would really love to know more, because right now all I'm getting the sense of is that they think they're super attractive. I want to dive a little deeper there. Let's come up with something, because I get the feel that this man is the only thing that's keeping this person from committing suicide, right? This man is like the last string that they have, right, that holds them to life. And I want it to be a little deeper than just physical attraction. Mm-hmm. So, and then the other thing, because there wasn't a pronoun, my brain automatically assumed, and this may or may not, this might be wrong, my brain automatically assumes that it was probably like a young teenage girl that's just obsessing over this guy, and it took me a little bit longer to realize, like, oh, this goes a lot deeper than that. So that's not really what this chapter is about. So I think we want to tweak, especially like to fix this chapter. I think the biggest problem with it is in the first couple of paragraphs. I think we need a better hook. And I think we need to dive deeper into like the attraction part of it.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about my recommendation. So instead of saying like, this guy's super hot, not that this is what they ever said, but we're getting this feel that this guy is super hot, right? So instead of saying that, I think the descriptions of how attractive he is work, but I think we need to add to it and say, like, maybe there's something about this person, right, that's keeping her from killing herself. So what is that exactly? And I noticed that they mention the book a lot that this man is reading. So is it that he has a passion for this book, and she's like, I haven't had not she, but they are having they're struggling finding passion in anything, right? Maybe their life feels really gray, and this man has this clear passion for this book because he comes every day to this bench to read it. Maybe that's why this particular man stands out, is because they have a passion for something. Or maybe it's because she has past experiences like getting abused. So I keep saying she, but I know that that's not the pronoun that's used. They've had experience getting abused by their partners in the past. And maybe this man is reading romance, and she's like, why romance? Like, does this man believe in romance? He's the only guy out there that I've ever known that believes in romance at this point. And maybe that's what stands out to this person. I think that we can delve deeper into that, and make it a little more impactful, like why this man particularly stands out and why this man is keeping this person from killing themselves. And I think that would really help. And I think you could start the hook with even just talking about the why this man stands out, and even just saying at the beginning, like, I plan to kill myself today, but this damn guy sitting on his bench is keeping me from doing that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you can dive into why this man stands out. Why this man is keeping this person from killing themselves. And I think that would be a much stronger hook. It would get rid of the stereotypical feel the first couple paragraphs. And it just make it so much stronger. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, like this whole chapter has some awesome descriptions, really great at getting you like deep into the character and getting you into their thoughts. And I love that. I think that's awesome.
Use of character voice, which is so important. Yeah, nailed it with that. Like, definitely I could hear the character voice. I got what they were thinking. I felt like I was inside their head.
For sure. I think this writer did an awesome job with that. But yeah, those are, honestly, I think that's probably my biggest suggestion, is just the first couple paragraphs, really like honing that in and getting that hook stronger. Yeah, I think it was a pretty strong piece. Like the writing is great. Like, I think the writing style is awesome. Like, loved it.
Mm-hmm. My only like real suggestion with it is I agree with everything that Brooke says. And then once we do find out that she is suicidal, I would like to know, and it might be a big plot point in your book, so you might not want to disclose it all up front, but I would give the reader just a small hint as to why they are having these thoughts, why they're depressed, just some kind of, we need to know. Yes, that's, you're almost like leaving the reader in the dark a little bit too much. Like, you're not giving us information as to why they feel this way. And so, and like I said, if it's a big plot point, and that's like a lot of what your story is about, you don't have to disclose it all up front, but just a hint as to why they feel this way. And
I think that if you paired that with the reason why they're so attracted to this man, would make it like solid.
Yes. But yeah, overall, I mean, the writing's really good, excellent use of voice. That's like one of my biggest weaknesses, so I really am envious over your voice and the use of it. And yeah, really good descriptions. And what you did another really good job is you did a good job of, and this is voice too, but like showing the protagonist reacting, like how they were feeling internally before they responded, or how you let us see them battling that internal battle before they took action. And so you did a really good job with that.
Yeah, awesome job. Yeah, I think those are the two biggest pieces, and that's all I have to say really about it.
Both these chapters were so good. They were, I honestly really impressed with both of the writing and the story. So good job. I loved it.
Yeah, excellent. Does anyone have any questions? Throw them in the chat.
If they're inappropriate, we're gonna just ignore them.
Yep.
And for our winners, I know we already said this, but yeah, just check your email for throughout today, and we will be sending over the document with track changes and a little just snippet about what we'd recommend. But all in all, they were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have talent.
Yeah. Great job.
And we'll be doing this again. So if you're interested in being part of one of our live critique giveaways, just keep following us on Instagram and look out for the post.
Yep. Hope to see you on the next one. This was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks
everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.